Hello and assalamualaikum. My name is Ridwana binti Razalli and my number matric is 2020595039. Today, me and my group members Nik Shaheera Azfareeda, Hafizatul Husna, Fatin, Nabila and Nurul Syafiqah will present about topic EPF and SOCSO. So, let's start. So, what is EPF? EPF known as Employees Provident Fund, which is kumpulan wang simpanan pekerja. EPF was established in 1951 and one of the oldest and the largest retirement fund in the world. It's pursuant to the Employees Provident Fund Ordinance under the National Director of Post. It's managed the compulsory saving plans and retirement planning for private sector workers Malaysia. Membership of the EPF is mandatory for Malaysian citizen employees in private sector and voluntary for non-Malaysian citizens. Their headquarters at Jalan Raja Laut, Kuala Lumpur. Okay, EPF Act 1991. This law became the EPF Act 1951 in 1982. After that, the EPF Act in 1991. It requires for employees and employers to contribute towards their retirement saving and allow workers to withdraw saving at retirement or for a special purpose. Vision and mission EPF. So, EPF vision is helping members achieve a better future, and their mission is safeguard members' saving and deliver excellent service. As of 31 December 2012, 30.6 million, which is 6.4 million, are active contributing members. Now, let's see about SOCSO. SOCSO, Social Security Organization. What is SOCSO? SOCSO known as Perkeso, which is Pertubuhan Keselamatan Sosial. SOCSO was established on 1 January 1971 under the Employees Social Security Act 1969 as a government department of Ministry of Labour and Manpower. Currently, SOCSO operates in 54 offices, including their headquarters. What are their vision and mission? So, their vision is to become the premier, dynamic, and outstanding leader in social security. And for their mission is to security protection to insured person and their dependents through social security scheme and increase awareness of occupation as safety and health that will ultimately improve the insured person's social well-being. Now, let's see about entrusted with administration of two social security of SOCSO. The first one is Employment Injury Scheme. It provides protection for employees against with contingency, occupational disease, accident that happen while travelling in the course of employment, and the last one is accident during emergency. The second one is Invalidity Scheme, where it provides 24 hours coverage against invalidity or death due to the end causes, either incurable or is not likely to be cured. The second one is no longer capable of earning. And the last one is by working corresponding to his or her strength and physical ability, at least 1/3 of the customary earnings of a sound insured person. That's all for me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum and hi, my name is Nik Shaheera Azfareeda binti Nik Shamlan. Now it's my turn to talk about characteristics and features of EPF and SOCSO. According with the EPF Act, any person who is an employee is required to contribute in EPF. The contribution are calculated based on their monthly salary according to the monthly contribution rate or known as third schedule. Monthly contribution consists of employee's share and employer's share. When the employee salary is below 5k, the employee needs to contribute 7% of their salary while the employer needs to contribute 13%. If the employee salary is above 5k, the employee still need to contribute 7%, while the employer contribute 12%. The compulsory contribution will credit to EPF accounts and divided into two accounts, which are account 1 70% and account 2 is 30%. Starting 1st January 2017, members who have reached the age of 55 and above and are still working will have two accounts, which are account Emas and account 2. As long as you are retired at the age of 55-year-olds, you can withdraw your saving for various uses such as medical bills, tuition fees, perform Hajj, although some people choose not to use this method. However, it should be noted that the EPF savings are for pension use, not for investment. The principle of saving money in the EPF is to ensure that there is enough money when members retire. For EPF members, there is an annual dividend for retirement savings. Besides that, there are additional saving account 1, Hajj registration, retirement, low stability, death and income tax relief. Okay, so now let's move to SOCSO. All working employees and employers need to contribute to SOCSO. Employees' monthly contribution rate is based on their monthly salary. Employers must pay monthly contribution for each eligible employees according to the rate set under the Employees Social Security Act 1969. This contribution is divided into two types, which is the first one is occupational disaster scheme and disability scheme. All employees under the age of 60 must be under this scheme. The contribution of this type is only take 0.5% of the employee's monthly salary. Any figures suggesting higher contributes should be reported. The second one is occupational disaster scheme only for employees who are over 16 years old and still working, and also employees who are over 55 years old when first entering a job in a company that is eligible under the Act and has never contributed must pay a second type of contribution. Other than that, the temporary employer and part-time contract is also need to be registered. Beginning 1st January 2019, all employers are required to register foreign workers employed for the protection of SOCSO Work Disaster Scheme under the Employees Social Security Act 1969. Contribution for this scheme are set at 1.25% of the monthly salary and are paid monthly by the employers. SOCSO will provide financial support and other employment services for someone who is still unemployed and looking for a job. Other than that, SOCSO also provide free medical treatment at any registered panel clinic. The employee can make a claim if he is injured in any kind of accident, whether at work or any trip related to work. SOCSO also will pay maximum 1.5k to the disease of the family if the contributor die early, whether due to work-related injuries or not. The Self-Employment Social Security Scheme was created to provide protection to individuals who are self-employed, such as taxi drivers, e-hailing, and bus drivers. Lastly, working students are also eligible for a study loan if they have received for a diploma or degree at a local university. This assistance is eligible for those aged 21 and under. This loan will help to pay for college or university fees. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum and hi everyone. My name is Nurriffah binti Roslan. I will be explaining about roles and function of EPF and SOCSO. So I'm going to start with EPF first. The roles and function of EPF is to mobilize and allocate saving from employees and employer through compulsory saving contribution for their own retirement. Every employer is responsible to contribute on behalf of every employee who is employed under a service or apprenticeship contract. So every month the employer will deduct 11% of the employee salary and paid to the EPF along with the employer's share of 12%. This is based on the contribution rate set by the EPF Act 1991. Second is to generate maximum return on investment for members' benefits. The EPF fund are invested in three types of investment, which is long-term investment, equities, and short-term investment. The example of long-term investment is foreign security, debenture loan, and loan that are granted by the government. Example of short-term investment is time deposit and no negotiable certificates of deposit. The last function of EPF is to undertake activity that can provide social security to the members. This is the return of member saving through the process of withdrawal scheme. Some of these withdrawal scheme are age 55 year retirement withdrawal scheme that consists of lump sum withdrawal scheme and periodical schemes. The other one is housing withdrawal scheme, which consists of withdrawal to buy or build house and withdrawal to reduce or settle the balance housing loan. Okay, so let's proceed to the roles and function of SOCSO. The roles and function of SOCSO is registration and collection of contribution from employer and employees. This is mean that employer and its employee must be registered with SOCSO within 13 days, and it is compulsory for all Malaysian and permanent resident employee to register with SOCSO, except for permanent employee of federal and state governments, domestic servants, and those who are self-employed. Next is the provision of compensation for injuries due to disease or accident of employees. SOCSO was entrusted with the administration of two social security scheme, which are the employment injury scheme and invalidity scheme. For the employment injury scheme, protect an employee against occupational accident or disease. Meanwhile, the invalidity scheme ensure employee who is unable to work due to incurable or likely to be cured condition or deaths. Lastly is to provide free medical treatment facility for physical or vocational rehabilitations. These facilities are given to illegal employee in the form of physical rehabilitation that include physiotherapy, occupational therapy, and others. And for vocational rehabilitation include training in courses such as electrical, repair, video or TV, typing or other. All expenses that incurred that I mentioned just now will be borne by SOCSO based on stipulated rates, terms and conditions. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Hafizatul Husna binti Ghazali. I want to explain on product or services offered by EPF and SOCSO. Employee Provident Fund, or known as EPF, offered many services beside the mandatory or compulsory contribution. The first one is ISRAN. This services is for self-employed members who do not earn a daily salary to make personal contribution for their retirement. The members under this scheme will receive additional contribution from government RM250 ringgit per year. But this additional contribution only valid for a members below than 55 years old. Next is iSuri. This incentive is for housewives to ensure their well-being. But before being a members of iSuri, they must register themselves in eKasih. Future benefits and privileges that will be enjoyed by members of iSuri are yearly dividends, tax exemption, funeral expenses aid, and will receive additional contribution from government 480 ringgit per year. After that is top-up saving. Top-up saving is one of the ways for those who are searching for opportunities to commit to the retirement well-being for their loved one, which is their family members. The person who can contribute under this incentive is husband to wife, wife to husband, parents to children, and children to parents. But the condition is the family members must be an EPF members. The last one is self-contribution. This scheme encourages people who do not cover under EPF Act to make contribution. This scheme also allows an existing EPF members who are wish to make additional contribution, self-employed, or even Malaysian working overseas to apply for this scheme. My next point is services offered by SOCSO, which is include employment injury scheme. This scheme provides an employee with compensation against injury and occupational disability resulted from their work. The security under this scheme include if the accidents occur while at work or during business days, while the workers are on the road between their residence to their workplace, or on a road that directly related to their work, and occupational disease. Next is Self-Employment Social Security Scheme. This scheme was enforced to provide protection for individuals who are self-employed under Self-Employment Social Security Act 2017. In the first place, which is June 2017, this scheme was compulsory for individuals who are self-employed in transportation sector, which is include taxi driver, bus driver, and e-hailing. But in January 2020, this scheme was expanded to 19 other sectors. Members under this scheme can make payment of contribution either yearly or monthly basis. Tun Abdul Razak Rehabilitation Center is also a services provided by SOCSO. The purpose of this rehabilitation center is to treat an employee who are injured while performing their duty so that they can get back to their workforce. Concept of Tun Abdul Razak Rehabilitation Center is all-in-one, which means that they provide facilities and skills that the employee need to return to their workforce. Lastly is Dialysis Center. SOCSO has provided dialysis support and service for qualified insured persons that suffer from chronic renal disease. This center provides free of charge treatment to an insured person at any SOCSO dialysis panel, include private dialysis centers that run by NGOs or even government hospitals.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Nabila. I will explain about the risks involved with EPF. These are the risks that will involve with EPF. The first one is pandemic, the second one is recession, third is longer life expectancy, and lastly, the lower economic growth. I will talk about pandemic and recession first. Recession is a declining in general economic activities in a country. These are the several examples of recession. The first one is the Asian financial crisis, the second one is the global financial crisis, and the third one is COVID-19 recession that we are facing right now. COVID-19 recession is the worst economic crisis since the Great Depression. Pandemic is an outbreak of a new disease to the entire world. I am sure most of you must be familiar with this example. The first one is SARS that occurred in 2003, next the H1N1 virus in 2009, and the current pandemic we are facing right now is the coronavirus. As you guys can see, the aftermath of pandemic and recession are quite similar, which are the two conditions will slow down the economic activities and most businesses are forced to shut their operation. This will also contribute the negative impact to the country GDP. Next, the unemployment rate will increase because most employees will lose their job. As the downfall of the economic activities in 2020, most employees lost their job or being retrenched by their company. Therefore, the government of Malaysia decided to take several actions to ease their financial burden and to improve disposable income. As the first action, the government allowed the employees to make an early withdrawal from their EPF saving account 1 and account 2. The withdrawal scheme for account 2 is called iLestari, where they can withdraw RM500 from their saving for 12 months. Meanwhile, the withdrawal scheme for account 1 is called iSinar. iSinar was announced in the 2021 budget. Next, the government has lowered the minimum contribution rate for the EPF members. The contribution has been reduced to 7% from 11%. However, the members has a chance to maintain their contribution, and the contribution of members aged 60 years above will remain unchanged. The third risk for EPF is longer life expectancy. Malaysia is one of the fastest aging country. The Malaysian life expectancy has been rising, where the assumption of one person will live for 75 years. However, most Malaysians does not have enough saving, and their saving in EPF are barely enough for them to live a decent life during retirement years. This is because without sufficient retirement saving, they will face financial difficulties and will give the government a burden to financially care for them. The fourth risk is lower economic growth. The economic growth tends to trend lower when the workforce is shrinking. Small amount of workforce means lower contribution fund to EPF, and this will give the negative impact to the interest and investment return of EPF. Aging Malaysian will have to face the challenge to live below poverty line in the future. In conclusions, action taken by the government is only effective as a short-term relief, since an early EPF withdrawal will affect their saving to grow. Furthermore, EPF will also lose a number of their contributors due to the rising of unemployment rate, and their fund will become limited due to the rapid cash outflow. Lastly, EPF won't be able to provide sufficient financing to most retired employees in order to survive poverty.
Okay, my name is Nurul Syafiqah binti Zakaria, and I will explain about risks that involve in SOCSO. The first risk that involve in SOCSO is labor market. The loss of certain industries along with outsourcing of certain activities and steady reduction of regular job is a problem for SOCSO. Job promotion and career break threaten the financial sustainability of SOCSO system and adequacy of benefits, which contribute to rising inequality and may negatively impact social cohesion and resilience. In May 2020, unemployment rate in Malaysia increases to 5.3%. This is because of the increased case of COVID-19 lead to government implemented the Conditional Movement Control Order (MCO). To stabilize the unemployment rate, SOCSO had implemented various labour market policies such as hiring incentive program, Penjana Kerjaya, and wage subsidiary scheme. Okay, the second risk is health financing. Health and long-term care risks and challenges confronting SOCSO and healthcare services keep on advancing in Malaysia. Such as right now, Malaysia is facing COVID-19, and this is reflected in an increases in the number of claims. So, in response, SOCSO offer the COVID-19 screening test and through the program Saringan Prihatin (PSP) to all contributors. Over 100,000 employees have undergone the COVID-19 testing under PSP since April. From 1st June, SOCSO had expanded the scope of the PSP, including the provision of a subsidy of up to RM150 per test to the employers who had conducted the COVID-19 screening for their employees with other service providers. Okay, from what my friends has explained about the EPF and SOCSO, we can conclude that EPF was given the mandate to coordinate a retirement fund. So here we can see that EPF practices the saving concept, which is responsible for compulsory saving for old age. Meanwhile, for the SOCSO, with the insurance concept, which is responsible to manage social security and worker affairs, such as cover the medical care, cash benefit, provision of artificial aids, and rehabilitation.